Okay, I thought you were talking to me. Sorry. So, well, good. I'm excited for today. I know we're going to have a bunch more people that have told me they're coming, but we're going to be a few minutes late, so we'll have a bunch more join us. But any wins or successes? Anything good happened since we met last? Although I see a lot of new faces, so there might be.
I went to the gym.
Awesome. Good job. That's good.
I couldn't do my workout this morning, but I was here at 7.
You were here at
She had the
7.
mental
Nice.
workout. Since last Friday, I picked up 5 or 60 clients.
Nice.
So I've been busy,
Good job.
enjoying it.
That's awesome.
We've got
Congrats.
another one coming up in probably 2 weeks. We're gonna sign.
Nice.
Yeah, another one
Good job.
2 weeks after that.
Probably one next week.
So cool.
And if I work hard enough, I'll have them before I go home.
There you go.
Nice.
It's been that kind of week. So
Nice.
I'm enjoying it. It's been good.
Cool. Good. Thanks. Thanks for sharing. Good. Anyone else? Wins or successes? I'll tell you my win. Jeff Staples is here. That's a win for me.
It's a win.
I ordered my business cards and my car wrap.
Awesome. Congrats. That's cool. Good. That's what we want to hear. That's exciting. Good. All right. Anyone else? All right. Well, so we're going to have Lisa come up from Vanguard first. Talk for a minute.
Hi, I'm here to give the title tip. So today we're going to talk about what to bring to closing. We are here to help you guys look like pros, and so with this list you can help educate your buyers and sellers on what to bring to closing. Anybody have a guess as the most important thing for a buyer to bring? Nope.
ID.
They'll take care of the win.
ID.
ID? Anything else?
Blood sample.
First one.
Bring the closing, yet ID is the biggie.
Yeah,
for
right.
us.
But normally they're bringing money down, right? Yeah. Yeah, normally it's wired, depending on the amount. But 2 really big things is how to get us the money and bring your ID. So, and then on a seller, again, the ID is super important, but they need to bring their bank information so we can wire them their equity, right? So again, both things super important, but we're here to help you guys. As you're dealing with your buyers and sellers, we're on the 4th floor. You can come and ask us about anything. We'll help you as much as we can, whether we're working on your transaction or not, because we just want to be awesome for you guys.
Cool.
So.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yes.
Okay, and then also are excited to have Paul Jolly here. So, Paul, you want to come up and say it? So, those that were at the kickoff yesterday or the ribbon cutting for Inspiro. So,
My name's Paul. I know a lot of you currently, but my name's Paul Jolly, and I'm with Inspiro Financial. We're just down on the 1st floor. As you walk into the building here, we're off to the left. And we invite you to come in and visit with us, when you get a moment. We are a close partner, obviously, with Century 21 Everest, and we're really designed to meet your needs in terms of availability, in terms of access, in terms of everything we do. We work really, really hard in your behalf. I'm available usually 18 hours, 7 days a week. So if there's things that happen on weekends, we do understand that. Get my information. Don't hesitate to email me or text me. That's usually the best way, or you can call. But texting me and say, hey, I've got a pre-qual. Can you fire off a pre-qual for me so we can get your borrower on the way. We normally have some tips and so forth, but I think for the most part, it's important for you to understand where we're kind of at and what we're trying to do in your behalf. And I think another good thing that's important is we love to meet with your borrower at least once. And we like to do that on the front end. And we do that by way of a mortgage plan. We invite them in the office. We'll take 30 minutes with them to kind of share with them the programs and the other nuances of lending. And what happens when they they're usually concerned about, the process being ominous, threatening, intimidating, scary. I mean, this is a big deal, large purchase. And what happens is they exit after sitting down with us. realizing that, you know what, this is not as hard as what I thought it was going to be. They have a level of comfort in what they're about ready to do, the options that are available. They're able to make informed decisions, and more importantly, get a feel for who's working in their behalf. So again, we look forward to meeting and getting to know each one of you. If you need follow-up on borrowers, we're happy to do that. We have all kinds of systems and capabilities that allow us to, keep in contact with the borrower and help season them along if in fact they're not ready to go today. So thank you. Any questions at all? Great. Thank you.
Paul.
You bet.
Okay, so we're going to jump into today's class on SOI. We have to be done at 11:45 because the foundation is coming in to do a stuffed eggs for the Easter egg hunt thing that we're doing, which I was told to offer to you. Those who will stay and help, they're going to buy pizza. So if you want to stay and help stuff 10,000 Easter eggs, there's pizza coming.
Yeah, in fact, the pizza is being ordered right now, and it's the pie pizza. It's probably the best pizza out there, at least here in Salt Lake.
True.
So, yeah, it'll be here.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I sent an email to you guys about this class, and so if just in case you didn't get it, but even if you did, this particular class that we're going to go through and talk about today is a math problem. Now, I'll show you what I mean by that. But working your sphere of influence really is a math problem. It's not a people problem. Most agents attack it as from the standpoint of it being a people problem, but it's not. It's really a math problem. So we're going to do some math today, although it's not hard math. I'll show you. But if you will follow the process that I'm going to give you, here's what I will make the guarantee to you, and I will guarantee this. So if you will follow the 4 protocols that I'm going to give you, I'm going to give you 4 protocols. In the email that I sent, I think I said that if you'll follow the steps of it, you'll make over 100,000. I was actually being conservative in saying that. You really, if you will follow it, honestly, you should probably be at least $150,000, if not $200,000 a year, if you'll just follow these 4 protocols. Now, most of you, though, are going to leave here and not do it. And I'll show you why I think you're not going to do it. It is not hard. I will tell you that right now. What I'm going to show you is not hard to do if you will just do these 4 things, and I promise you, you will work less than you are now if you would do the 4 things, and you will have a huge income. So, you ready to hear about it?
Yeah.
All right. So first, though, where I want to go with this is, and I'm going to do this actually rather quickly just because of our time constraint. I want to explain 3 different groups of people. The first one is a client. What makes someone a client?
An agreement.
Okay, good. So an agreement. Now, so as we talk about this, I'm going to give you 4 things that make somebody a client. What you learn in real estate school still applies, even though what I'm going to put up here doesn't necessarily fall in line with the division of real estate that makes a client. Meaning, from the standpoint of the division, just having an agreement signed means they're a client. But is it possible for somebody to sign an agreement and then not use you as an agent? So were they really a client? I mean, again, from a legal standpoint, yes, they were a client, but were they really, did you get paid? Is probably the better way of saying it. So does having an agreement signed get you paid? No. So think of it as we go through and talk about this. The first thing that they have to have or be in order for someone to be a client is they have to be committed to working exclusively with you. Now, they typically demonstrate that by signing an agreement is how they demonstrate it. But as we already said, it's possible for somebody to sign an agreement but not be committed to working exclusively with you. So in order for someone to be a client, they've got to be committed to working exclusively with you. The way they demonstrate is by signing an agreement. But it is possible, is it possible for somebody to not sign an agreement but be committed to working exclusively with you?
Yeah, and they said you were fine.
Yeah, or even that they say, yes, I'm going, meaning they will probably end up having to sign an agreement, but could they be committed to working exclusively with you prior to signing an agreement? Yes. So just signing an agreement isn't it, it's they have to be committed to working exclusively with you. The second thing that makes somebody a client is they have clear and present needs that can be met. So they have clear and present needs that can be met. They have clear and present needs that can be met. So for someone to be a client, they've got to have clear and present needs that can be met. So said another way, they got to be realistic, it's got to exist, and they got to be able to afford to do it. They have to have clear and present needs that can be met. Number 3 is that they need to be committed to buying or selling now. When is now? Define now.
Today.
Okay, today? Any other thoughts? Because I said we're going to hurry through it, you guys are like, I'm not going to answer because we're going to hurry. I'll give it to you. Okay. There is no exact time for now. Here's how I define now. If it is a seller of a house and I get an offer in that meets their needs, they'll accept it. If it's a buyer, we go out and find a home that fits these clear and present needs that can be met, they're going to buy it. They'll write the offer. They're not going to say, oh yeah, now we just got to wait a little while to make sure that we have the funds or whatever. So now to me just means when we get an offer on your home or when we find the home, you'll write the offer or accept the offer. Okay? And then number 4 is more about how to manage your client, and they have to be tethered. What's tethered means? What does tethered mean? All right. Is that how today's going to go? You guys are just going to sit there and not
Let me throw a guess out. I'd say it's you showed your worth enough that they rely on you heavily.
Okay, good. I like where you're going with it. Just think tethered in general, not in terms of a client. What about tethered?
They're locked into a fixed position.
Okay, good. So when you hear tethered, what do you think about?
Connected to.
The tether ball.
Yeah, tether ball, right? Which is a ball connected to a rope or a chain and then a pole, right? So our clients need to be tethered to us. How do we tether a client to us? Now, typically we want to say through a contract, but it's actually not through the contract.
Rapport.
So good thinking, rapport, but through appointments. So here's how I think about it. You can't have a client without having an appointment. So if you think you have a client today and you do not have an appointment scheduled with them, according to my definition, you don't have a client. They're not a client if you don't have an appointment. So what should you do when you leave every appointment?
Set the next appointment.
Schedule the next appointment. If you will do that, you will close more deals. If you will always schedule the next appointment before you leave an appointment with a client, you'll have more deals. All right. In the event, though, so now let's say I do have an agreement signed with somebody. They have clear and present needs that can be met. They're committed to buying now, but I don't have an appointment with them. I'm telling you they're not a client. What are they then?
A lead.
Good. I like that. I'm going to call it something different. They're a suspect.
A suspect. You're suspect.
Because you suspect that they're going to be a client, but you're not positive. So they're a suspect. So a suspect is deficient in one or more of these categories is what makes somebody a suspect. Okay? So with a suspect, they have some of these characteristics, but not all of them. So let's say that I don't have an appointment with them. How would I tether or have a suspect tied to me if it's not through an appointment? Because I can't have a client without an appointment, so they're not a client. But let's say they meet all the rest of this, but I just don't have an appointment. How would I want to work with them then? Okay, how would I do that?
Follow up.
Good. How often?
Every day.
Maybe.
No, really.
But at minimum, how often?
Once a week.
Good. So on a suspect, we're going to stay in contact 1 time per week until they become a client, or I drop them, or they become what we're going to call over here a prospect, or really just SOI, or you could say database. Okay, so we're going to spend the rest of our time now talking about the 4 protocols for this group, for your SOI. And again, if you will follow this, so we're going to talk about 2 types of systems, an open system and a closed system. So, but before we do that, I've got a video that I'm going to show you here real quick that will help us as we go through and talk about this. Yeah, thanks, Rick.
I come to help, Russ.
You came to help and to meet Victoria.
Yes, it's Victoria. Hi, Victoria. We'll chat after.
All right, so now, this video, most of you in here are too young to remember, but back before television was in color, it was in black and white, and there was a sitcom that was on there that was called Ma and Pa Kettle. Us. Sorry, I'm gonna have to.
Yesterday, when Jay Bentley was
Putting the thing up here. So we
That's
need to
not
have
a bad
we need to
photo.
have them
not Hit it up there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's because it's old.
I thought it was just my old eyes.
All right.
I figure 75% to you, Palma, and 25% divided between the 5 of us. Yida, Crowbar, myself, Tom, and the baby. That makes 5% for each one of us.
Billy, you're cheating yourself. If there's 25% divided among the 5 of you, that's 14% apiece.
Oh, no, listen, Pa. I wouldn't cheat you. You know I wouldn't. Now, look here. I'll show you. Let me run this out here. And now, 25 divided by 5 is 5. You see, 5 won't go into 2, will it? No. But 5 goes into 25 5 times, you see.
No, you're wrong, Billy. Now, I'm pretty good in mathematician. Now, 5 into 25, 5 won't go into 2, will it?
No.
But 5 goes into 5 once. Now, we didn't use the 2 before, so we bring it down here. Now, 5 into 20 goes 4 times. There you are. 5 into 25, 14.
No, look, Pa. Let me prove it to you now by multiplication. 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25.
I'm surprised you're learning.
Huh?
I'm surprised that you're learning. Now I'll show you. 5 times 14 is 25. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5. 25. That's it.
No, look, Ma. Look, you're wrong there because I'll prove it to you. We'll put down 5 14s here. 14. There. Now I'll prove to you by addition that 5 14s is not 25. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20.
21, 22, 23, 24, 25. There you are. Better brush up, Billy. I don't want to see you boys cheated.
All right, so we're gonna do some math today, but we're not gonna do mom. We're not gonna do mom and pop kettle math, but you might think I'm doing mom and pop kettle math better. What?
Right?
You like it?
See, that makes sense.
It does. It does make sense.
Okay, now, so one other thing I want to show you, and then we'll get the lights and everything back on. Every year, NAR does a survey of home buyers and sellers. Some of you have seen this before, but this is showing in 2018 how did sellers choose the agent that they were going to list with. So when you look at that chart, what do you notice? Well, yeah, you need to stand up and see. With the very top 2.
They don't.
So the top one is referred by or is a friend, neighbor, or relative, and that's where 39% of sellers came from. Use the agent previously to buy or sell a home is where 24% came from. So 63% of sellers chose their agent how? Basically SOI. Because I would add those 2 categories together. If they use the agent previously, they should be in your database. And friends and neighbors and relatives should be as well. So, yeah, go ahead, Bert.
That was the first time home buyer at 20% used their previous agent.
No, these are sellers. So, but that is scary actually, because this is saying that 20% of the first-time sellers use the agent that they had used previously, which means they probably bought the home with them. But isn't that scary to you? Why would only 20% of the people use the agent to sell the house that they used to?
The agent isn't following that.
That's right. We typically don't do a very good job at staying in touch. And honestly, here's the other reason I think this happens. Do hiccups happen during a transaction? Almost every transaction has some small little thing that leaves us as agents feeling like, oh, they're mad at me. And so because of that, we never follow up with them. Or we just aren't good at follow-up, so that because of that, only 20% then will use the agent they used before. So that's good news, bad news. Bad news is that you need to do a better job of following up. Good news is if you have a buyer of a house, you should adopt them into your SOI because it's highly unlikely their agent is following up with them. There's an 80% chance you could adopt that client to now become yours when it's time to sell. Does that make sense? Okay, how about buyers? Let's take a look at the buyers. Where do buyers come from? 41% were referrals, and previous previous agent, 12%. So 53% again. How important is your SOI? I did not do a very good job of warming you guys up. Like they will not talk, Rick.
What'd you do, Russ?
I don't know. What did I do?
Can I make
See?
a statement on it?
I still can't get it. Yeah.
I mean, really, every agent who sticks in this business, your SOI is what really sustains you over time, without question.
We put that in.
So it's a matter of just refining that. And the system he teaches, in all the years of doing this, the system he's teaching you right now is by far the best system for that.
Okay, so we're going to get into it. So remember, what we're talking about is we're going to be talking about two types of systems, an open and a closed system. Now, let me explain the open system first, and then we're going to get into the closed system, and then we'll get into our four protocols. If you were to just grab a map and just draw a circle on a map, now this would have to be a pretty large circle on a map, meaning like I'd probably have to do all of Salt Lake Valley for what I'm about to say to be large enough to take place. But according to the Census Bureau, 12%, every year, 12% of the population is in the process of moving. So 12%. Now that includes renters. If you factor out the renters, 7% of the population is in the process of moving at any given time. Now, part of what we're going to talk about for a minute here is this open system. I'm going to show you the problem with an open system that most people don't understand. But once you understand this open system, it will totally change the way you're going to approach things. So what that says is if I took a map and did a circle basically of Salt Lake County, 7% of those people in the next year are going to do something real estate related, buy or sell. So let me say it to you differently. Out of 100 people, out of 100 homes, 7% of those, now if you actually just did this on 100 homes, it's probably not going to equate to 7%. You've got to have a big enough sampling, which is why I say all of Salt Lake County. But for you to see the ease of this, so out of 100 people, what if 7% are going to do something, how many transactions does that equate to?
17.
Yes, 14. Just like the mom and pa kettle math. Now, why is it 14 and not 7?
Both sides.
Yeah, because there's two sides to it. There's a buy side. Every house that sells, there's a buy side and a seller side. Now, one of the things that you will hear if you have not heard it yet is you're going to hear something like this. That if you talk to 100 people, you should get 10 leads, and from those 10 leads, one of them should turn into a transaction. Has anybody heard that yet? Couple.
Yes.
Okay. So, does that sound pretty good?
Yes.
I mean, like, really, if you stop and think about it, like, for real, if you talk to 100 people and you got 10 leads and one of them turned into a transaction, would that, well, who thinks they're doing the most contacts in a day? Here, throw out some, like, how many contacts per day are you doing?
30.
30 a day? Okay, so using this, with Parker saying he's doing 30 a day, based on that, essentially, if this is true, every 3 days, you should be doing a transaction. Was that? I mean, I guess a little over 3. So, let's just say it's 4 days. So every 4 days, you should be doing a transaction. Let's hypothetically say that you're doing that, working only 4 days every week. That's a transaction every week. So are you on track to close 50 transactions this week?
No.
Well, so then what's the problem?
Skill set.
Okay. Could be.
Or maybe it's
That
really
very well could be. That actually could be. But what else?
maybe just who he's talking to.
Okay.
I don't know though, that wouldn't really apply, would it? Because
Shouldn't matter as long, because
yeah.
according to this, like, 7% of the population. So, which by the way, this is where this came from. When people say you should talk to 100 people, get 10 leads in one transaction, is because of there's a 7% chance that a transaction is going to come out of that, of that person. So because of that is where that's where this comes from. Here's the problem with it. That's an open system. So it sounds good though, doesn't it? To say if you talk to 100 people, you're going to get 10 leads and do a transaction. Sounds good. But here's the problem. It sounds good until you understand how an open system works, because this is how an open system works. Let me show you what I mean. How many sides to this dice?
6.
So so somebody pick a number between 1 and 6. I always have to throw that in because one day somebody said 7. So somebody pick a number between 1 and 6.
4.
Okay, 2. What are the chances then, or what are the odds that when I roll this, I'm going to get a 2? 1 out of 6. So now let's see in reality what happens. So somebody keep track of little tick marks of how many times I roll it. And let's see how many times we have to roll it to get a 2. Okay? Okay, so there's a 1. 6. So there's 2 rolls. The 1, so 3. There's a 5. There's a 1.
Loaded, Russ.
I know. I'm going to Vegas. So, how many times have we rolled it?
6.
How many times does 2 come up?
0.
So hey, hold on though. You guys said though that 1 out of 6 is going to come up. So let's keep going and see what happens. How many times does the 1 come up?
That's the 5th time.
Is that really 5 times? Okay, so you're still keeping track, right? Okay. We're going to see how long it takes us to get a 2.
This is how you get your daily exercise.
Yeah, that's right. This is where I do my lunges. Okay, how many times did we roll?
That was the 12.
Huh. So, but wait a minute. Like you guys said, the odds were what?
1 in 6.
But I just got 1 out of 12 though. So is it my skill set? So
Chance.
what's the problem? The problem is this is an open system. This is an open system. Let me say it to you a different way. When you hear this, it sounds good. Now, and I'm not trying to dissuade you from making contacts, FYI, but I just want to show you an open system. What? Darn? Yeah, everybody gets up and leaves. Crap, I thought we didn't have to call you. This looks not bad. Like, for real, Parker, if you could make 100 contacts and turn it into a deal, like early on in my career, and I told most of you guys this, I was doing 50 every day. I should have been doing a transaction every other day, and I wasn't doing that. Like, it sounds like a pretty good thing, but here's the problem. So let me tell you what this really says, and let me tell you what this really says, okay? What are the chances when I knock on somebody's door, if this is the case, that there's 1 out of 10, basically, what are the chances when I knock on her door that she is going to do something real estate related? Well, no, sorry, I didn't split. I'm saying, let's say there's a 1 out of 10, basically. So what are the odds that she's going to do something?
1 out of 10.
So 9 to 1. So yeah. The odds are 9 to 1. What though?
That she's not.
That she's not going to do something. That's what this really says. So when I knock on, but hold on. But if that's true, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I knock on these 9 doors, what should happen when I get to this one? According to this, I should get a transaction. According to rolling the dice, I should get the number 2. But what you saw, what happened? What happened?
12.
Twice. Loaded.
You stopped
It's not loaded, I promise.
You stopped at 12.
Well, yes. So thank you, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But so said another way, let me do it this way. What are the chances? 9 to 1 that she's not going to do something. 9 to 1 that he's not going to do something. 9 to 1 you're not. 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 9 to 1 you're not.
9 to 1.
Does it matter how many times I do it?
It's infinity.
No matter, does it matter how many times I roll this dice? What are the odds?
Still the same.
It's 5 to 1 against me getting a 2. Do you see what the problem with an open system is? That's the way most of us approach working a sphere of influence, is we work it in as an open system, which said another way is the odds are 9 to 1 against you every time. Would you like to change it? Because I'm telling you there's a way that we can change this, and I'm going to show you, to where we can have a 60% chance that when I go talk to the person, they're going to do something.
I'm in.
You're sold. Thank you, Rick. I'm glad Rick's here. Cause, woo! I know.
Do I get the knives with it?
Okay, so do you want to learn how to do it that way?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me show you though. Here's what we have to do. So now, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to roll this and try to get a 2. Only this time we're going to change the rules. We're going to change from an open system to a closed system. So in the closed system, here's how it works. Now, because this is my game, I get to decide the rules. So said another way, if you could go to Vegas and do this, I would not be here teaching you this class. I would be in Vegas doing this. So you're not going to be able to go do it in Vegas. But the good news is, who's in charge of your real estate career?
You are.
You get to decide the rules. So you can decide. Sorry, I'm spitting. Apologize for those in the spit zone. You're going to get wet. This is like being at SeaWorld, you know, I should give out a poncho to those on the front. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Every time I roll this and we don't get a 2, I'm going to put a sticker on it. So you're going to keep track again. But every time, if I roll it and a sticker shows up, I get a free throw. Because that's the rules of the game. I get to decide the rules because it's my game. Just like in real estate, you get to decide the rules. It's your real estate career. So I get to decide the rules. But so the rules of this game are, every time I roll something that's not a 2, I'm going to put a sticker on it. If I roll it and it comes up the sticker, it doesn't count. I get a free throw. Right? Now let's see what happens. Okay, so there's a 6. So now I'm going to pull off a sticker. So now if the 6 comes up again, it doesn't count. Okay, there's a 4. So we've rolled it twice. And then we got a 2. Okay, so how many times did we roll it? 3 times and we got a 2. Now let's just see what happens. Let's keep going. Okay, free throw. Doesn't count. There's a 5. So I'm putting the sticker on. So there's with 1 roll, right? There's a 3. Now, what's going to happen now?
Every time you roll it, it's a free throw.
So we've rolled it twice, right? Okay, let's see how long it takes to get a 2. So how many times we rolled?
3.
Is that right?
For the second round, yeah.
Okay, 2. So how many times do we roll it the first time?
The first group was 3 and this one was 3.
There's 12.
Then this one was 4. Okay, now what's going to happen now? Free throw. Free throw. What's going to happen? I get a free throw until I get a 2 now, right? Because everything's covered up. Would you like to do real estate that way?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to show you how. But what you have to do, in order for you to make this work for you, you've got to have your SOI. Now, let me pause for a minute. I'm okay. If you want to have 5,000 people in an SOI, I'm okay with that. Like, you can follow the protocols, because in the script book, we've got basically a way for you to follow up with your SOI that says you should contact them once a quarter, do an email once a month, mail quarterly, do some type of social media post to your SOI, do some type of a hub event like the Easter egg hunt that we're doing, those type of things. I'm great with that. You can still do that. But what I'm saying is contained within that group, whatever it is that you want to have, we want to create a closed system within inside of that group. That closed system, so that's actually the first protocol that we're going to have for our SOI, is it has to be a closed system. What would make it a closed system? I'm going to quit asking questions. Either that, Or I'm just gonna.
Or I can answer.
It's got to be those that have been giving you referrals or somebody that's been increasing your chances.
Okay, you're on the right track. You're thinking a little too specific though. Like how could I make my SOI a closed system? I'll just start calling them. Luke, what do you think?
I'll
okay.
go.
Oh, well then good. That's what we're gonna do then. If you guys won't talk, Ben, you're next, so get ready.
Wake them up.
What?
Tell a joke. Wake them up.
I already showed him a video that was funny.
Well, just like you covered up the dots, if you're not getting any, if you're not getting the results, then you can change the rules and get the results.
Okay, good. And the first rule I'm going to say is I want it to be a closed system, which means it needs to be fixed in size. What does that mean?
You can't have 5,000.
That's right. Well, or you can. It's just you have to have 5,000. Whatever it is. Now, I am going to give you a number that I would say that you should do this as for your fixed in size. Meaning you can have 5,000 if you want, but contained within that, you should have a group that should be fixed in size. Does that make sense? So when I'm saying fixed in size, that means you can't have one more or you can't have one less.
The VIP lounge.
Yeah, so think of it as a VIP section. So think of your SOI is this group within that SOI is going to be a VIP lounge that you're going to have. So you can have 1,000 people, that's okay, but contained within it, you need a fixed in size group that is going to be the VIP, and that number needs to be somewhere between 200 and 300, but I will tell you for most of you, it should be 200. So it needs to be fixed in size, and you want it to be 200 people. So what happens if I've got 200 people in this group, and let's say that Jeff Staples here gives me a referral, and then a few weeks later gives me another referral. And a few weeks later he gives me another
Well, there's
referral.
got to be somebody in that group that isn't doing that for you. Or you can't get a hold of them. Or...
Yeah, so if all of a sudden I want to add Jeff, I all of a sudden now have 201. So what if this first rule or protocol, the reason I say protocol instead of a rule, what's the difference between a protocol and a rule?
A rule you can change. Protocol is a system you follow.
Yeah, so I think of the protocol as a required condition. So you have to do it. Rules are made to be broken. This isn't a rule. It's a protocol. You have to follow it. Remember I said at the start of this, most of you are going to leave here and not do what I'm going to teach you today to do. And I'll say more about that in a minute. But this is one of the things you have to do. It has to be fixed in size. So I'm telling you right now, for most of you, it needs to be 200. But the real protocol is it's got to be fixed in size. So you could really do it with any number, although I will say it's got to be a number large enough, meaning you couldn't leave here and go, okay, I'm going to do this. Russ said I could make a couple $100,000 off this. My fixed in size number is going to be 5 people. Like, that's not going to work. It's got to be a large enough sampling, and so what I found is it needs to be 200 to begin with. Now, once it's working, you can change it if you want, meaning the lowest I've seen anybody be able to, now don't leave here saying Russ said I could do 75 instead of 200. You have to do 200 to begin with. Everybody clear on that? Won't work if you start with, well, let me take that back. It will work if you do it with 75. It's just going to take longer than what I'm going to tell you it's going to take to get up and running. So if you want it to take longer, you could do less than 200. If you want it to do it in a reasonable time, 200 is the number. So once it's working, though, you could, where I've seen it work, the lowest I've seen somebody have it work is 75, and usually it'll be somewhere around 150. So what I'm saying is you can reduce this size a little bit if you want to down once it's working. But until it's working, what's the number?
200.
Okay, good. So it's got to be fixed in size. So if I all of a sudden meet Jeff and I want to add him to this VIP group, what do I have to do? That's right. Because it's fixed in size, somebody else has to go. If he's going in, somebody else has to go out. Make sense? Okay. So let me show you how this works, what this looks like. So we've been talking about, and I just said, it's going to take a little bit of time to get up and run. So part of the reason that most people will not do this is what it's going to look like. The process to get it working is going to look something like this. What you're looking at here, this is the learning curve. So think of it as like anytime you're going to learn a new skill, which great book, by the way, to read is Mastery by, remember the guy's name? Something Leonard. Jason, do you remember?
Bernard Leonard.
I think it's Bernard Leonard. Yeah, I think that's right. But Mastery. In that book, he talks about basically this type of a concept. For you to master anything, what's going to happen is you start working on that new skill, and you're going to work on it a lot, and what's going to happen? Nothing. That's what happens when you learn a new skill. Guess what's going to happen as you start this? The first little while, nothing's going to happen, or it's going to feel like nothing's happening. Now, when I say nothing's happening, do any of you know how bamboo grows? How does bamboo grow?
Fast.
So,
After
say that again, Parker.
After a point, so like
After a point, it goes fast, but what's going on before that?
it's developing. It does it for like, well, depending on the species, it takes like 30 days, and then after 30 days, it doubles in size for like every single week or every single day.
But before it even pops out of the ground, what's going on? Yeah, it is 3 years doing that. If you were standing there over it, nothing's happening. Nothing. You're watering, you're pulling the weeds, nothing's happening. Or at least it looks like nothing's happening. That's what I would tell you on this. Early on, it's going to be similar to that. It's going to look like nothing's happening. So I went to this great class that Russ told me, because I promise you, once I show you the math on this here in a second, you're going to get excited about it, and you're going to say, I'm doing it. And then you're going to go out and you're going to start doing it. But the first few months, what's going to happen?
Nothing.
Which isn't really true. Something's happening, you just don't see it happening. Stuff's happening, it's happening under the surface. See, with bamboo, it's getting its root system in place so that when it does poke through, what Parker said is exactly right. All of a sudden, in a matter of weeks, it's like 90 feet tall. And it seems like, oh wow, it grows so fast. Yeah, if you take out the 3 years that you didn't see anything happening. Now, good news, this isn't going to take 3 years. But it's going to take a few months of nothing happening before it pays out. But I'm telling you, most of you will get frustrated because nothing's happening and you'll quit doing it when it was just ready to take off for you. So stick with it. Make sense? All right. Now, so what's going to happen, though, is when I said to you, you can count on $100,000 a year off of this, and I'm telling you it'll be more than that. We're going to do the math in a second. I'll show you. But from this point forward is where I'm saying you can count on that 6-digit income. Is as soon as it matures here. Now, it is going to take somewhere around 6 months before that happens. So what I'm saying is you're going to have to follow these protocols for about 6 months. Now, depending on each one of you individually, that's going to vary a little, meaning it could happen quicker. It could start happening a lot quicker for you than others, but on average, it's going to be 6 months. But from that point on, you can count on, and we'll do the numbers, but it's going to be a minimum of a 6-digit income. Now, why and how, I'll show you in a second. Just keep in mind, what's going to happen, though, is it's going to feel like nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden it's going to take off. All of a sudden, you're going to start to have 3, 4, 5 deals in a month because of following this process. But remember, like the bamboo, nothing's going to happen at first. I'm trying to really, like, my goal is to come in and be like, guess what, guys? 75% of you are going to do it. I just have learned, well, let me say it a different way. If 6 months, or let's say a year from today, I run into you and you're not doing a huge amount of business, I know you didn't follow what we were talking about. I know it because it is guaranteed to work because it's a math problem. And we're going to do the math. So let's take a look at, let me erase this. Let's take a look at the math. Let me show you what this looks like. So what we're going to do is this. So let me show you what it looks like. So you have to have 200 people as the first protocol. Now, just for the sake of the ease of the math, I'm going to do it with 100. Don't use that as, well, Russ said I could do it with 100. How many do you have to have?
200.
Oh, good. That was good. That was like the best response I've had the whole day. I just got to ask easier questions. Okay. So I have to have 200, but for the ease of me showing you the math, we're going to do it with 100. Now, so I'm going to use two different colors here, red and green. Now let me explain how this works, because contained in this system, you got to have 200 people. Now, our assumption about those 200 people is what? What are we assuming about those 200 people?
They like you.
Okay, good. So they're either going to do business with me or refer business to me. Okay? Now, keyword that I just said there, we're going to assume that. Now, why do I say we're going to assume that? Here's what I mean. It is easy to get people to lie to you. It is hard to get people to tell the truth. Let me show you what I mean. Watch this. I forgot my business card. So I'm going to pretend this is my business card. All right. Watch this. Watch what happens. Knock, knock. Hi, my name's Russ. I'm with Century 21. Just wanted to see if you'd do me a quick favor and just hold on to my card. And if you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling real estate anywhere, just give me a call and I can help them.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, perfect. Knock, knock. Hi, my name's Russ. I'm with Century 21. And I just am out talking to neighbors, getting to know people. Want to know if you'd do me a favor.
Sure.
Will you just hold on to my business card? And if you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling anywhere, just give me a call and I can help them.
Okay.
Awesome.
That's too hard.
Knock, knock.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Russ. I'm with Century 21. Just wanted to see if you'd hold on to my business card, and if you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling anywhere in the world, let me know. I can help them.
Sure.
Oh, so cool. Knock, knock. Hi, my name's Russ. I'm with Century 21. Just want to know if you'd do me a favor.
What is it?
Just hold on to my business card, and if you ever hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling anywhere, give me a call. I can help them.
Okay.
Easy? Awesome. This is like shooting fish in a barrel. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
I there's always one. You think of a good knock knock joke.
Hi.
Boo. All right. So, hey, want to see if you do me a favor?
Sure, Mike.
Will you just hold on to my business card? If you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling anywhere, give me a call.
Sure, thanks.
Awesome. Knock, knock. Hello. Hey, my name's Russ. I'm with Century 21. Want to see if you do me a favor?
Okay.
If you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling anywhere, will you have them give me a call?
Yeah.
Okay. Knock, knock.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Russ. I'm with Century 21. Will you do me a favor?
Maybe.
Okay, that's fine. Will you hold on to my business card? If you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling anywhere, call me. I can help them.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, so easy. Knock, knock.
Hi.
For real. If you hear of somebody thinking of buying or selling, you gonna have them call me? For real.
If I remember.
Okay. Good enough. Hey, Carolyn, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, for real. If you hear of somebody thinking of buying or selling, you're gonna have them call me so I can help them?
I guess so.
Okay. Knock, knock.
Hi.
Aaron, for real.
Well, I've only met you a few times. I changed your tire. I was the manager at your repair shop. I don't know you super well. What do I get out of it?
Well, you know, unfortunately, the state doesn't let me give you anything for it, but you know, I just would appreciate the help if you hear of somebody. So, would you be? Are you for real? You gonna do that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. For real. You hear of something, think of somebody buying. Hear of somebody that's thinking of buying or selling. You gonna let me help?
Probably not. I have a friend in business, Jeff Staples.
Oh, really? That's good dude. He's lost a lot of weight recently. He hasn't eaten anything.
He's working his way up to baby food.
That's right. So, okay, so you're going to use Jeff. For real.
For real, probably.
So why did you tell me you would use me the first time?
Oh, I mean, you just gave me the card, you know, I don't know.
But if you got to know me?
Can you buy me dinner?
All right. Okay, do it.
That's all it takes.
For real. For real.
For real what?
If you hear of somebody thinking of buying or selling, you're going to call me and let me help. For real.
I don't know. Why should I help you?
Just, I don't know. That's why I asked you the first time. If you hear of somebody and you said yes, you would. I just want to know for real if you're going to.
I don't remember you.
Oh, well, so if you got to know me and you remember me, like, I'll come back.
Well, I don't know.
I'll come back. For real. For real. For real. If you hear of somebody thinking of buying or selling, for real. You're going to call me and let me help. For real.
Yes.
Okay. For real.
No.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay, but if you got to know me and you liked me and thought I was a good dude,
It's a possibility, but
Good enough. I'll be back. I'll be back. For real. For real. For real. If you hear somebody, you're gonna have to call me. For real.
My dad's an agent.
For real.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh. So why did you tell me you would use me to begin with?
I didn't want to ruin your day.
Oh, yeah, my day's not ruined now. I feel really good about myself now. So, but for real, if you hear somebody, you're gonna send it to Matt? For real?
Yeah.
Okay. Carolyn, for real.
Oh, I'm not answering this.
For real. No, just answer for real. Remember what? Do you guys remember what we're talking about right now that led to this conversation? For real.
I am not answering this.
For real. I'm forcing you to answer. For real. For real.
Probably not.
Why? For real.
I just,
But for real.
I mean, you're an annoying person that knocks on my door.
All right, I'll be back. For real.
I'm going the other way. You're determined. You seem pretty good at your job. You're
So
following
for
up.
real.
Yeah, I think I would.
All right, I'll be back. For real.
Hi, he's coming.
For real. Even if I took you to dinner. For real.
Oh, if you took me to dinner?
Yes. For real.
Was it? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll be back.
Sushi or
For real.
You're the guy that keeps coming back. I see this no soliciting sign.
I'm not saying anything. I want to know if you hear of somebody, if you'll refer them to me.
I don't know anybody.
But if you did, for real, if you heard somebody buying or selling, are you going to let me help them? For real.
I'll put this card
For real.
with the other guys.
Okay. For real.
I heard my neighbor.
Do you remember what we're talking about, guys?
I did one too.
For real.
I need a dinner like my neighbor.
I'll take you to dinner if you'll refer somebody to me. For real.
Okay.
You will.
Yes.
I'll be back. So, for real.
still no.
Why? For real.
Because this is the third time you come and all you've asked me is.
I'll be back. We're getting some help. For real. If you hear somebody, you're going to refer them to Matt. For real.
Yes.
I'll be back. For real. For real.
I will, just so you leave me alone.
Okay. For real. I'm looking forward to that, by the way.
Actively look, because you're determined.
Really?
I like real people.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, you
For real. I'm going to skip. For real. I think we might know it.
I didn't answer.
Pay attention, guys. For real.
I already told you yes. You come back again. I'm not gonna do it.
I thought you were helping him.
I tried.
For real. For real.
No.
Why? For real. Why?
Because I don't
Tell
want
me.
to work with you.
Oh,
Because I'm an agent.
oh, okay. Hold on. Now, just so that we're all clear. For real. Are you gonna? If you hear of somebody, are you gonna refer them to me?
No.
Why?
Because I'm an agent.
So why did you lie to me to begin with?
Because I just want to see how you kind of.
Okay, wanted to see how I would handle it. Okay, well let's test. Watch. For real. Are you gonna refer people to Matt if you hear of somebody? For real. For real.
No.
Why?
Because I'll probably do it.
Yes, thank you. Why? So why did you lie to me?
Because you didn't need to know.
Oh. Guess what happens to the people that you think are going to refer people to you? Carolyn, for real. For real. For real.
Probably not.
Why? For real. Pay attention to what the rest of these guys say. For real.
Yes.
Pay attention. Remember what we're talking about, guys. Do you remember what we're talking about? For real.
Some people don't want to see.
For real. Why?
I'll take the agreement.
I mean, you just.
All right, I'll come on. For real.
Please don't knock somebody over.
I'll be back. For real.
I told you last time you came back. Now I'm not doing it.
Why? For real.
Because I told you not to knock.
Pay attention. For real. Are you going to refer people to me?
No.
Why?
I'm an agent.
Okay.
I told you that.
For
But
real.
I want you to join my team because you're so.
For real. For real.
No.
Why?
Because I told you.
No.
What do you mean why?
Okay. For real, Carol. Did you listen to what Scott said? For real. Do you remember what we're talking about?
starting not to wonder.
Do you guys remember what we're talking about?
Don't remember.
No, I'm not asking them. I'm asking everybody else because clearly they don't remember. Did you hear what he said?
I didn't.
Okay, listen. For real.
No,
Why?
because I'm an agent.
Okay. For real.
Well, he's an agent.
For
I'm an agent.
Oh, you
What?
since when? How long have you had your license?
Well, I have a lot of neighbors that need help, so.
No, for real. But for real, are you going to refer when your neighbor says I need to sell my house? Are you going to call and go, Russ? You need to come sell my neighbor's house. For real.
Yeah, I'll send you over
Oh
there
my
to
gosh,
find
pay
out.
attention.
It was me.
I should have chose this group. For real. Are you going to refer people to me for real? Why? Which is what? Oh. Are you going to refer people to me?
I am not.
Why?
Because I'm an agent.
Are you going to refer people to me? Okay, let me try it again. Are you going to refer people to me for real? Why?
I'm an agent.
Since when? For real?
5 years ago.
For real?
Yeah.
I think it's longer than that. How long have you had your license? For real?
For real?
For real? Yeah, no. Well, I haven't said that yet today. I'm sorry. Did I say for real yet? Did I say for real?
No.
Like for real?
Well,
Oh,
5 years.
okay.
Okay.
So why did you lie to me?
Well, because I didn't want you to feel like you were failing.
Oh, well, I feel great now. All these people telling me they're going to refer people to me, but in reality, are you going to refer somebody to me? In reality, why?
Because I can do it.
Yeah. So why did you lie to me? For real. So why did you lie?
I don't know.
Okay. For real. You going to refer people to me? Why?
I'm an agent.
So why did you lie to me?
Thought it was a role play.
Thank you. We thought we were role playing, right? Guess what this group of people thinks? You're pretending you're an agent. I'll pretend to refer people to you. Yeah, for sure. I'll send them to you.
I see what you're doing now.
Oh, okay. I know. I probably should have said for real, right? Like I probably should have said like for real, guys. That's my favorite part of this class. All right. So now let's go back. Remember what I started that whole conversation with? It's easy to get people to lie, and I just proved it to you. Look at how easy it is to get people to lie to you. What is challenging in life is to get people to tell you the truth. So, because of that, I said to you, we've got 100 people in here. Our belief is that they're what?
They're gonna help us.
That they're either going to do business, refer, help us. Said another way, we think they're green. They represent money. But what's the truth that you guys just saw? Some of them are going to lie to you, and meaning they're red. So what I'm saying to you is, out of the 100 people, what percentage do you think are really going to, if we just grabbed a random group of 100 people, doesn't matter. Let's just say we pull out the phone book. I have one. I kept one when I got it recently because I know in like 5 years I'm in class, I'm going to pull out and be like, guys, this is a phone book. We used to use these things. I probably could do it now, but if you just ripped out 100 names and threw it on the board, what are the chances if I called that they would say, yes, I'll refer people to you?
Pretty good.
Probably pretty good I could get that. But what's the reality of it? How many of them really probably will?
One or two.
Very slim.
Yeah, probably very slim. But let's say from your friends, neighbors, family, what percentage would you say probably really will?
60.
10? Okay. Well, I want to start with a number lower than 60 because I'm telling you we can get it, Larry Mason. We can get it to 60.
80-20 rule.
So you're saying 20, not
20%.
okay. Let's do, just for the sake of time, because we got to be done in 45 minutes. I'm going to do it a little bit higher than that. I'm going to say it as. Let's do it as. Well, to begin with. I'm just going to do 50-50, just for the ease of what we're doing. Okay. So what I'm saying is this. Watch now. Watch what happens with this. You're going to now start to see the magic of a closed system here. So out of 100 people, if 50 of them are red and 50 are green, now I'm keeping this simple so that you can all answer. What are the odds that somebody's going to do something with me or refer to me? Yeah. So the odds are 50-50, right? So the percentage is 50-50. Now, let's say that I go door knocking. I knock on 100 doors, whatever. I get 10 leads. Now, what's our first protocol? No, the first protocol of this system. Close has to be fixed in size. So I've got 100. Now remember, in reality, you got to have 200, but for the ease of the math, we're doing it at 100. So I picked up 10 people, 10 leads. Of those 10 leads, how many do you think really will end up being green and how many will end up being red? So what I mean by that is all 10 of them, we assume they're what color?
Green.
Because we wouldn't add them if we didn't think they were green. The only reason I have red up here is to show you guys. Our belief is all 200 of these people are green. That's our belief. But we know in reality some of them are lying. Just because of what you just saw. It's easy to get people to lie. It's hard to get them to tell the truth. You're going to have friends, neighbors, and relatives who will say, yes, I'll refer people to you. They have no plan of ever doing it. But how do you know which ones are going to and which ones aren't? How are you gonna know?
Keep the ones that actually give you a referral.
That's by the results. You're going to know by the ones who actually do it. So to begin with, you just have to believe that they're all green. But just know a percentage of them are red. They're telling you they're going to refer people to you, but they're not going to. You following me? Okay, so now we just picked up 10. Out of the 10, how many should we say that within a year will either do something with me or refer somebody to me? And how many are going to say that they will but won't? But you guys give me some number. Just
one.
Well, only one?
Yeah. Out of 10.
Okay, that's fine. So let's
not fast enough.
No, that's fine. It's okay. We'll do it higher the next one. So watch what happens here. So I'm going to add one green. Now keep in mind, if I knew these other 9 were red, I wouldn't add them. But I think they're green. But if we could fast forward a year down the road, we're going to find out they never did business or referred it to me. Following me? So we added 9 here. Okay. So how many total do I have now?
10.
But what's the first rule? Protocol.
Close system.
So what's the so we're now? But before we fix the problem, let me show you something. Watch this. This is what happens. This is the problem that happens. I have 110, not 100. I now have 110, right? Now somebody pull out their calculator and divide 51 into 110. Tell me what it is. What's that percentage? Which means the other side is 54. Now, hopefully right now you're going to see the problem with an open system. What just happened?
It went down.
Rods went down.
So note, and I'm going to explain it a little even better than that. My workload just went up 10% to get 4% less. You see the problem with an open system? Typically what people are doing is they want to keep growing. I got to keep growing my database. But what happens is you grow your database to have more work for a less of a return. What we're talking about is a return on your time invested. So, but luckily for us, we know that the first protocol of this is it's got to be a fixed in size group. So what do I got to do to fix that?
Get rid of 10 people on the right.
I got to get rid of 10, right? And do I want to get rid of any of these? Now, how do I know who these ones are?
Results.
By the results. Who are the people who are doing stuff for me? So I got to get rid of 10, so I don't want to get rid of any of the ones. Like if Jeff is referring people to me, like I said, would I want to be like, oh, sorry, Jeff, like I can only have 100, and you were the last one that I put in, so I guess you got to go out. Would I want? I
No,
clearly
because
wouldn't want to do that,
You don't
right?
know if he's giving. Well, I guess you do know. If he's
I do know because every few weeks he's calling me and giving me a referral. Now, I am going to give you some ideas. When you guys were asking what are you going to do if I give you a referral, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Which Jason Carlson has left, but I give credit to him for this idea. So we got to fix this problem. So I got to get rid of 10. So I want to get rid of 10 of the red ones. Now, how am I going to decide which ones to get rid of?
Longer in the database and haven't done anything.
Okay, good. Yeah, we'll talk about a few other ways as well. But so now watch what happens now, though. So now I just went to 49 here, 51 here. My work now stays the same because it's still just 100. And now I'm to 51, 49. So now look at what just happened compared to where we were. So now let's do it a little more extreme. Let's say we go get 10 more. But let's say this time, 7 out of the 10 end up being green. So I'm at 58 here, 3 of them here, 52 here. But we got to delete 10, right? So I'm going to subtract 10 of these again. So now I'm at 42 here, 58 here. Look at what my percentage just did. Oops. 58, 42. What's going to happen if I just keep doing that? If I just keep getting rid of the people who aren't doing anything and replacing them with, but truth is, does it matter who I replace them with? It really doesn't matter. Because over time, they're going to figure themselves out, and I'm going to get rid of the ones that aren't, and I'm going to hold on to the ones that do. But what's going to happen if I keep doing that? If every week or every month I'm constantly just adding people to this and getting rid of the ones that don't do anything, what's happening?
Your workload goes down, or percentage of the income goes up.
Yes, the chances that somebody is going to refer someone to me or do business with me themselves is constantly getting better. Can you see why now I'm saying it's going to take 6 months? Because I don't know where you're going to start on this, meaning you might start with what Mike said, we're 10% or whatever. We're out of the 100, maybe 10 are green and 90 are red. Like if I just pulled a thing out of a phone book, that it might be that. 10 out of the 100 might refer somebody to me in the next year. But if you start with people you know, who already know you and like you, the chances they're going to refer people to you do go up. Now, so how do we work this? When I say this is the workload, what does that mean? Well, let's get to the next protocol. So the second thing that you're going to do with these people is you need to have to do a mail or email, I don't care which, 1 time per month. And now I'm going to actually give you an idea of what to do with that too. What to send to them. I'll show you in just a minute. But you need to have contact with them by mail or email once a month and personal, spelling it wrong, personal contact 1 time per month as well. So you're going to want to have contact with them once a month, and you're going to mail them something once a month, and we'll talk about what to mail to them. Well, in fact, let's do it right now. Let's go through that right now. So here's what I did. In fact, I realized halfway through my talking here that I left this sitting on my desk. So if you want to see it, I'll show it to you. But probably close to 20 years ago, at a sales meeting at the office, we had a guy come that was trying to sell Top Producer. Back then, Top Producer was the floppy disk. You would put it in your computer and load it onto your computer. It wasn't like on the internet like it is today. And which I'm not trying to sell you guys on Top Producer, but he was trying to sell us Top Producer. And at that meeting, he said, I'm going to give you guys the best marketing idea, and none of you are going to do it. Now, to some extent, the reason I start this class by saying to you guys, I'm going to teach you guys how to go make a ton of money in this business, and none of you are going to do it, is because of this. In that meeting, he said, I'm going to give you the best marketing idea ever for your SOI, and none of you are going to do it. For me, that was like he threw down the gauntlet. I was like, I don't even care what you say, I'm doing it. So I kind of hope that's what I'm trying to create in you guys by saying, you're not going to go do this, is I'm trying to have you be like, oh yeah, I'll show you. Like, that's what I hope happens. But so this guy said, I'm going to give you the best idea, and none of you are going to use it. And then here's what he said to do. Go to your SOI, contact them, and find out what area either they're interested in potentially moving to at some point, or how big of an area around their house they want to know what's going on in real estate. And he said this, then once a month, send to them a newsletter that shows them, here's the homes that are for sale, here's the homes that went under contract in the last month, and here's the ones that sold. Either in the area they live in, or an area they're interested in moving to, so that they can keep an eye on that area. He left, and I said, I'm doing it. So I started calling every person that was in my SOI. And at that time, I had about 150 people. But I was calling all those people. Hey, I'm going to be putting together, I had been doing a mailing, but it was the same thing everybody else mailed. Let me give you an idea. Some people will send out like recipe cards. And in the Realtor magazine, I haven't seen it for a long time, but they used to have this like section where people could write in and tell funny stories. And this lady wrote in and said, funny story, I have somebody that I'm mailing these recipe cards to every month, and then I get a phone call from the lady. And she says, hey, I wanted to give you my address because we've moved, but I love your recipe cards and I want to still keep getting them. Yeah, what's the problem? They didn't use her as the agent. Why? Because they thought of her as the recipe card lady, not the real estate lady. So she loved her recipe cards, still wanted to keep getting them, but we've sold our house and moved somewhere else. Didn't use you, but we still want to get your recipe card. See, most agents that are sending just stuff, like, I don't want to take away, it's better than nothing, but the best thing to send to them and to your SOI for most of you that are newer in here, part of the reason this is going to take a while too is I remember when I first got my license, I was working at a bank out in their operations department, and when I quit, I had probably 5 or 6 people say, hey, in the next year we're going to buy or sell, we'll call and we'll use you for sure. Not one of them used me. And I was like, what the heck? Now, I realize now what goes on, especially for those that are newer agents. People that you know, friends, neighbors, relatives, they're not sure that you know what you're doing. I mean, they're like, it's like my biggest asset. I don't know if they really know what they're doing to get a home sold. So part of by sending to them, and I didn't learn this till after I did it, but by sending them, here's the homes that are for sale, here's what are under contract and what sold in your area. By doing that, they assume you listed and sold all those houses. And I even started writing a letter to them that said, I probably was not involved in any of these transactions. It's just to let you know what's going on in your area. They still think you did it. Like I learned, they still thought I sold all those houses. So they would call, hey, you sell every house in this neighborhood. We figured we should call you. So I'm telling you, at the end of the day, I don't care what you mail to them. Mail whatever you want. But if you want to know what the most effective thing, here's how I would do it today if it were me. I would put them into Zap. And then in Zap, you can set up I can't remember what, they changed the name on it. Like Watched Homes Alert or something like that. When you go into the contact and scroll down, you'll see it. It's like Watched Homes Alerts or something like that. Put in there, click on it to add a Watched Homes Alert, put their address in there, and then it's going to send to them, here's the homes. How it does it, it's not perfect for how I would want it, but it's the amount of work that goes into it compared to what I was doing, much better. So what you do is you put in their address, you'll click Watched Homes Alert or Homes Alert Update, something like that is what it says. You'll click on it. It is going to then look in a 2-mile radius of their house and it send them the 5 closest homes that are for sale. And it's going to look and do that every week. I wish you could turn it to say just do it once a month. That's probably coming, but at this point it's going to look once a week. I have it set up on my own house. I will tell you, it does not come every week. It only if the same 5 houses are there the next week, it doesn't send the email. It only sends it if something changes. So I have found it's usually in every other week to every 3 weeks that it will send me an email. But you should go set it up on your own house. That to me, if you will set that up for them and then just call once a month, hey, just want to make sure you're getting the emails. Do you have any questions? That's it. Your phone call only has to be, now I'll show you why in a second, but the purpose of the phone call is going to be, Jeff, hey, just want to make sure you're getting the emails.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any questions about any of the properties?
No.
Anything I can help you with in real estate?
Not at the moment.
Okay,
No,
hey.
I'm thinking of it.
Perfect. Hey, but if you have anything or you hear of anybody, if you need anything, I've got a select group of people that I stay in touch with. If there's anything I can help you with, let me know.
Okay.
Great. Hang up. That's it. That's like, I'm not bugging him. All I'm doing is, hey, just want to see if you have any needs or if you have heard of anybody. Nope. Okay, great. Talk to you next month. Now, notice one of the things that I said there. One of the things I said to him is, even if it's not real estate related, if there's something I can help you with, let me know. Let me give you a quick story. Because this is what happened. Didn't happen to me, but an agent I trained this in. She did that. She called up one of the people in her SOI and said, hey, if there's anything I can help with, even if it's not real estate related. The person said this. Well, unless you know a certain, and said some kind of doctor, I don't even know what it was, this specialist that you could get my daughter in to see, I don't think there's anything you can do to help me. And she said, well, hold on. Like, tell me more about it. Oh yeah, we found out my daughter has this rare disease. She needs to go see this specialist. But they're so booked up because there's not very many in Utah. So because of that, like, we're months out and I need to get her in ASAP, but we can't. And she said, well, let me see what I can do. So she went back and sent an email to this whole group and just said, hey, if any of you know this particular kind of a doctor and have any connections with them, let me know, because I have somebody that one of my clients that could use the help. Well, somebody else in her database responds back, calls her up, says, hey, my brother is that kind of a doctor, but he lives in Philadelphia. Like, I could totally call him and get your client in to see him if they're willing to go to Philadelphia. Well, let me find out. Calls up, says, hey, you're willing to go to Philadelphia? I could get you in like right away. Yeah, we would do that. Boom, connects them. Now, what do you think the chances are when that person sells their house, they're going to call you if you did that? Pretty good. Like she said, you will forever be my agent. I will refer you to like anybody that I know because of what you did. So it doesn't have to just be real estate related. Say to the people on that phone call, hey, if there's anything I can help you with, let me know. Because I've got this select group, which that's what I call this, is a select group. This is a select group of people that I just stay in touch with. And I'd be happy to reach out to them and see if there's any way that we could help with whatever. Does that make sense? So any questions on this piece of it? The mail. Oh, two other things let me say, and then I'll ask you any questions. One is personal contact. Usually one of the questions that comes up is, can I send a text message? I would say yes, but what you got to pay attention to is, do they respond to the text? If they don't respond to the text, think of it as the same as if you called and left them a voicemail and they didn't respond. So I'm okay with you sending a text to this group, provided that they respond back. If they don't respond back, what are they telling you? Now, not the first time, but if over time you keep texting them month after month and they aren't responding, what are they telling you?
They want out.
They're red. So now, which that leads to the next piece of this, which is, I've started to say it and then I stopped because I realized I hadn't said it. Third protocol. You have to have permission from every one of them. So here's what you say. So any of your door knocking, any prospecting you do, if I knock on the door, I'm going to say, Aaron, I'm going to try to get an appointment first. If I can't get an appointment with him, then I'm going to say, Aaron, I've got a select group of people that I stay in touch with, which is why I'm just referring to this. And why do I say it as I've got a select group of people?
Yeah.
That's right. Sounds special. Yeah, I've got a select group. I would like to add you to that list. Would that be okay?
Sure.
So what that means, as soon as they say yes, what that means is I'll send you an email of what's going on in the market in your area. I'll just touch base with you from time to time to see if you have any questions. And then if in the event you have somebody, awesome. If you don't, that's okay too. So I'm not expecting them to give me somebody. If I had 100 people and I only got one referral from them every year, but I got one out of all 100, and I ended up doing business with 75% of them or 75 deals, am I going to complain that he's one of the 25 that didn't? No. So, make sure you let them know. Look, I'm not expecting you to have somebody all the time, but just if periodically when you hear of somebody, you'll pass my name on, that'd be awesome. Sound good? Great. Once he's given me permission, now I'm okay with the text or a voicemail. If you left a voicemail, hey, just touching base, want to make sure, so I'd love to do it. I get his voicemail. Hey, just touching base, want to make sure you've gotten my emails, and if you had any questions, let me know. That's it. Or a text message. Hey, Jeff, just want to make sure you're getting the emails that I've been sending. Any questions on any of those properties? If he replies back, nope, great, hey, appreciate it. If you hear of anybody, let me know. Thanks, that's it. I'm okay with that as long as you have permission. And the reason I want to have permission is because then, here's the other reason when I said most of you aren't going to do it, the other reason most of you won't do it is because you got to call them once a month. And you're going to say, well, I feel like I'm bugging them. And I don't want to be that guy or that girl, whatever. I don't want to bug them. Well, that's why we get permission, because now I don't have to worry about bugging. Now, here's the other side. How do I know who to get rid of?
The ones that don't give permission.
Yeah, so if either they don't give me permission or he revokes it. So let's say I called Jeff one day. I'm like, hey, Jeff, this is Russ. Hey, just want to make sure you're getting the emails. And he goes, yeah, but you know what? We're never going to move. And honestly, even if I heard of somebody, I'm probably not going to pass your name on. I mean, I just always feel awkward about that. What's he telling me? Yeah, get rid of me. Take me out of the system. So now, so that leads to this last protocol here, number 4. When you're calling, what are you looking for? Now, this is counterintuitive. Meaning we would think we're calling looking for the green, but what am I looking for?
Red.
Now watch why this works. If I'm calling Jeff trying to make him be green, if he is like he was, where I said that he was like, I'm probably never going to sell, and I don't know if I really would refer you to anyone anyway. If I'm looking for the green, I'm going to be like, hey, oh no, that's okay. I mean, but like if you ever did, would you use me? Because if I'm looking for green, what am I trying to create? Yeah, I'm trying to create a transaction where there's not one. But if I call him trying to find out the red, which, let me show you what I mean. For real, Aaron, for real, you gonna remember me doing that? I was looking for, look at how hard, and I'm telling you, to some extent, when you call these people, if I sense any hesitation in Jeff's call, if I'm looking for red, I'm going to totally attack it. If I'm looking for green, I'm going to pretend I didn't hear it and be like, I want to hang up. Does that make sense? If you're looking for the red, that's what's going to happen. When you're looking for red, if you sense blood in the water, you're going to attack. So let me show you what I mean. So just be hesitant on it. So let's role play it, but just be hesitant. So like, I mean, don't straight out say it, but be like how you would be if it was a friend calling and you were kind of like, oh, crap. You know what I mean? Okay, so ring.
Oh.
Hey, Jeff, this is Russ. How's it going?
Good. How are you, Russ?
Good. Hey, just want to make sure you're getting those emails still.
Yeah, getting them.
Any questions on them?
No.
No questions? Okay. Hey, have you heard of anybody thinking of buying or selling that I could help out?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay. Hey, so Jeff, I just want to make sure. Now, watch what I do. Immediately, as soon as I sense it, I'm going to go right back to permission. So, hey, I just want to make sure you're still okay with me sending the emails and touching base with you about real estate.
Yeah.
You don't sound like you're real excited about it. Are you okay with it? For real? For real? Just kidding. I don't care what you say. I don't care either way.
Yeah, I just don't think I know anyone else to move, or we're not moving anytime soon.
Okay, no worries. So, hey, would you prefer that I didn't send you those emails and contact you?
Yeah, I probably won't look at the emails.
Okay, no worries. Hey, dude, listen, we've been friends for a long time. I'm more way concerned about that than doing a deal with you. So, honestly, I appreciate you telling me the truth on that, and I will stop bugging you. In the event you do hear of somebody, though, let me know.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye. Inside, I'm going, what? Yes! Why am I excited about it?
Just lower your red.
Because as soon as I get rid of him out of here, it doesn't matter who I put in here, they're better than he was. And don't be offended by that, but does that make sense? Anybody that I add is going to be better because he already told me he's probably never moving. He's probably never going to refer me to anybody. So anybody I put in is not going to be worse. That's the good news. Let me show you what I mean. Watch what happens. Let's say that I screw up big time on this 1 week and that all 10 end up being red. So I add 10. They're at 52, 58 here. But what do I have to do? Get rid of 10. Which 10 am I going to get rid of? On the red. So I'm going to get rid of 10 older people. Look, you can't mess up. Like, it doesn't matter. Who you add doesn't matter. What matters? Who you get rid of. Who you get rid of matters. All that matters is that you get good at getting rid of the people, figuring out the ones who aren't, getting them to tell you the truth. Does that make sense? So that's why I say the fourth protocol is you're looking for the red, is because if I call and sense any hesitation, I'm going to immediately go, hey, Jeff, are you okay with me still sending this to you? But if I'm looking for green, I would never do that. Because I don't want to find out that if I'm looking for green, I don't want to find a red. I want to find the green. So now why? Why am I not looking for the green? Why do I have to not worry about the green?
Because they're green.
They come to you.
That's right. They take care of themselves. The green is just going to call me up and so watch. So now let's say Jeff's green. You come across a guy at work says he needs to move. What's he going to do?
Call Russ.
Yeah, and Jeff's gonna call me. Hey, guess what? I got a guide for you to sell his house. I already told him all about you. He's expecting your call. Here's his phone number. Oh, okay. Or Jeff decides to move. What happens? He calls me up. Hey, Russ, we need to sell our house. Like, here's what I'm telling you. I have not worked this system now for about 15 years, not quite 15. I still get phone calls from people in there saying, come list my house. Come help me. Now, you'll have to work it for about 10 years before you can quit doing it and not have to worry about it. But I will tell you that the number of times they're calling me is going down because I haven't keep working the system. So you got to keep working that system. See, Jeff's red. He just proved it. All right. So, what questions do you guys have?
What do you do with the others that are in your database that aren't part of the?
Yeah, great. Yeah, so if you have a ton of other people that are in your database, I would say still send to them a monthly email, contact them once a quarter, on their birthday, whatever. But what I have found though is what you're going to find though is once this ramps up and takes off, you're going to go, I don't really need to do that anymore. And or what I would recommend you do is as you have to get rid of, because that's the other side of this. Let's say that I have not been prospecting and I called up Jeff and he said, yeah, don't call me anymore. Now I'm at 99. What do I have to do?
Go find someone.
I got to go find somebody to replace them. Which if I had another database, I could replace them with that person in the database.
Typically, I mean, you're doing transactions, so you're going to be always adding those
That's right.
contacts anyway.
Yeah, in fact, the person who I have trained this in that does it the best of anybody I've ever seen, her name's Tonya Messina. I don't know if anybody, you know, do you know Tonya?
Yeah.
How do you know Tonya?
I did a deal with her.
Okay, yeah, she is awesome. She follows this like better than anybody I've ever seen on it. And she does, when I first started training her, she had kids that were young, like 4, 5, 6 years old, somewhere in that range. And she was working 20 hours a week. She hired her sister to be her assistant, which she still is, paid her to work 20 hours a week. So between the two of them, we're working 40 hours a week, and she was making $300,000 a year doing nothing but this. She's still to this day, this is the system she works. So now, so what happens though is, imagine if I keep doing this and I get it to 80, 90% that are green. It's going to be hard. So the reason I bring up Tonya, pretty much the only way you're getting into her database now, you're going to have to do a deal with her first. And even then you might not get in because she has got, and her number was 97. So she was generating $300,000 a year in income off of 97 people doing just this.
Just to piggyback, she is really doing that because she sold a home to one of my friends, and yeah, she's really doing that, following up with him.
Thank you for validating.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, because she is the best. I've had twice in this class that when I brought up her name, I've had people raise their hand and say, I was in that group. Which, by the way, that's the other way that they turn red sometimes, is they see how much business you're making off of it and go, maybe I should go get my license and become an agent. And once they do that, they're red.
That's how I became an agent.
Is it? From Tonya?
No.
Just kidding. But another agent?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why else will they turn red?
When they just don't respond.
Okay, good. They don't respond. So let's talk about that. So if I am sending to them a text or a voicemail trying to call them, and they don't respond. So let's say I did a text. So let's say I sent it to Aaron, text. Hey, Aaron, just want to make sure you're getting the emails. If you have any questions, he doesn't respond. The next month, hey, Aaron, just wanted to see if you're getting my emails. If you have any questions or if you know anybody I could help, no response. Third month, just want to see if you have any questions or anybody I could help, no response. The next month, guess what my text to him is going to say? Aaron, I've got a really important question for you. Call me. Now, what's my really important question if he calls me?
You want me to keep looking?
Yeah. I'm going right back. Hey, I just want to make sure I'm not bugging you. Are you okay with me still sending this to you? Because I haven't heard back from you. And then here's what they say. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've just been busy and we're not planning on doing anything. So I apologize. I didn't call you back. No worries. I just want to make sure you're still okay with it. See, I'm looking for the red. How else do I know that they're red? How about this one? You're on your in Zap. It pulls up that you're supposed to call them. And you look at the name and you go, I don't really want to call. As soon as you have that feeling, get rid of. That's the good news. Get rid of them. They're red. Replace them with somebody that you don't mind calling. Like, that's the cool thing about this. Is that's how you know it's red. When your list of people to call shows up and you go, I don't really want to call these people. Red. Get rid of them. Like that. It should be like you look at it and go, oh, cool. I get to call this person today. That's cool. Go ahead.
And so, like, when you are taking them off the list and stuff, you said don't put them in another group. Just get rid of them.
For me personally, yeah, I just say get rid of them. I mean, if you decide you want to put them in another group, that's okay. My fear is, though, is that what happens is then you quit working the closed system. It turns into an open system, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. That's my only fear. But whatever you want.
So when would you know to raise the number?
Oh, good question. So yeah, if you decided you wanted to raise the number, as soon as it's working, if you just said, hey, I've got more time, I want to do more business, I'm going to just ramp it up to 250 or something. I've just found over 300, one person, or you start a team, then you might want to raise this number as well if you were working it as a team. But one person individually, I've just found can't handle more. To stay on top of the contacts and everything with over 300 and the amount of business you end up doing, it's overwhelming. So I've just found the 200 to 300. So typically, more likely what happens, once it starts to work, you look at the 200 and go, I'm going to back it to 150 or 125, something like that.
So if you're just starting out and you don't...
200.
Yeah, but if you don't have the 200...
Go find them. Doesn't matter where.
Doesn't matter where.
You could rip a page out of a phone book. I typically recommend, though, go knock on doors. So watch. This is what I would do. So I knock on your door. Don't be interested. Hi, my name's Russ. We just listed a home over here. Who do you know that wants to move into the area?
I don't know anyone.
Well, how long have you lived here?
30 years.
Where'd you move from? How'd you happen to pick this area? If you were to move, where would you go next? Blah, blah, blah. If I can't, I can see I'm not, if I can get an appointment, my primary objective is to get an appointment. But if not, before I leave the door, hey, I've got a select group of people that I just stay in touch with, keep them updated on the market. I'd like to add to that list. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Great. So what it means, I'll just send you an email once a month of what's going on with the market in your neighborhood so you'll know what houses are for sale. And then I just will contact you from time to time just to see if you have any questions about that. Is that all right? Okay, so let me get your information. I get his information. Bam. Now I just got one. Put it in. Now, here's what I will tell you. Doing that type of a thing, you're going to turn over a lot. Because why?
They're all reds.
Because they lie. He'll say, yes, you can do that. And then the first month I call, he won't answer. And I'll leave him a message and he won't call me back. And but that's okay. Just know that's part of the process. That's part of why I told you in the beginning that's part of why you're not going to get a return. The other thing that I brought up about your friends, neighbors, and relatives is early on they're not sure they trust you if you're new in the business. But the more you said to them, here's what's going on in your neighborhood, they start to think you're selling all those houses. All of a sudden their confidence goes whoop, through the roof. Man, look how many houses they're selling. Go ahead.
So when contacting your friends, neighbors, do you just do a regular contact and then ask them the same questions?
Great question. Here's how I would do it with my friends, neighbors, and relatives. Excellent question. I would say, so let's say I'm calling you, you're my cousin or something. I'd call you up, hey Luke, this is Russ, how's it going?
Oh, great, how's it going, Russ?
Good, hey, I just wanted to find out, I don't know if you'd heard, but I actually quit whatever I was doing and I'm now selling real estate. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, I got my license a couple months ago, and one of the things that I've been learning is the very best way to build this is by referral. So I want to put together a select group of people that will help me as they hear about people thinking of buying or selling. So let me ask you, if you had a need or you heard of somebody, who would you refer them to?
No one.
Perfect. Perfect. I want to be that person. So would it be okay if I add you to the select group of people? Here's what it looks like, and then I'm going to explain. I'm going to send you what houses are for sale in your neighborhood. I'll talk with you from time to time to see if you have any questions about real estate or if there's anything I can help you with. Is that going to be okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, what if it's a friend I haven't talked to forever? Call him up. Luke, this is Russ Orchard. Do you remember me?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, we worked together at blah, blah, blah place or whatever, and I've got my real estate license. How have things been going for you? I probably would say that before I said the real estate license stuff.
They've been going good.
Yeah, hey, I apologize. We lost touch, but I've gotten my real estate license, and one of the things I've learned is just through friends and neighbors is the best way to build the business. And so I just wanted to find out, if you had a need or if you heard of somebody, who would you refer them to?
I've got a cousin.
Oh, do you? Really? Okay. That's awesome. Now, here's how I would handle that if he's got a cousin. I would just say, okay, and would you feel comfortable doing a transaction with him? Because I know sometimes people don't want to do that with family.
Oh, yeah, I'd feel comfortable.
You would? Okay, perfect. So at that point, make the decision of if you want to add them or not. It's up to you. And the reason I say that is if you will do this, I would probably be willing to, well, I may say, oh, who's your cousin? And if it's a big name agent that I've heard of that I know, like a Justin Udy that's worried about world-class customer service, I might go, and next. But if he goes, yeah, it's so-and-so, and I might look up his production on there and be like, yeah, he doesn't do much. So, hey, would you be okay if I still added you to this, though? Just keep you updated on what's going on?
Yeah, sure.
Because what will happen, what I found, is as I do this and contact him and mail and his cousin doesn't, who is he going to use and refer people to? That's what I found. Now, let me give you one other one that I had that did happen with me. It was a neighbor of mine that we're really good friends still. But I called him and did that. His neighbor said, hey, I had been licensed for a little while when I learned this, so I wasn't saying I got my license. So for you guys, so like Mike that's been licensed and Carolyn, I would say, here's how the call would be. Hey, I've decided this year, 2019, I want my business to be primarily referral dependent. And then I would go into the same thing. So I'm putting together a select group of people, blah, blah, blah. So I called up my neighbor, said that. I decided I want my business to be primarily referral dependent, and so I could use your help. If you had a need, who would you use? And he goes, Russ, love you, but if I was selling my house, I would not want to use you just because I don't feel like mixing business and friendship is a good idea. I go, hey, I respect that, because remember, I'm looking for the red. If you don't want to, I don't want to make them. So, hey, I respect that. And he said, but I would refer people to you. Hey, deal. If you'll refer people to me, I'm okay. Just if you decide to sell, let me know, and I'll get you in touch with an agent that will take really good care of you. He said, yeah, it's great. And he referred people to me. He still lives in the same house, but I was talking to him not long ago, and I said, hey, I talk about you in this class that I teach. And he said, what are you talking about? I would totally use you. I was like, you told me you wouldn't. No, I didn't. But he did. but my point is now, look, over the time, it's changed to where he's like, I totally would use you now.
Would you leave a message if they don't answer?
No. Once you have permission, yes. If I don't have permission, my message to you would be, Luke, this is Russ. Hey, I got a really important question. Give me a call. That's it. That's all I would say. And once you have permission, I'm okay with leaving a voicemail saying, hey, I just want to make sure you're getting it. If you've heard of anybody, let me know. But until then, no. Now, one other thing I want to hit on is what do I do now when somebody refers someone to me? Okay? So let's say that Mike here, he's in my database, calls me up and says, hey, Russ, I've got somebody that needs to sell their house. Here's their information. Give them a call. Great. As soon as I hang up the phone, I'm going to get a thank you card. I'm going to write, Mike, thank you for thinking of me and referring me to your friend. And then I'm going to go over to, there's a Cold Stone right here. I mean, you can do Starbucks, whatever, but something 10, 15 bucks. I'm going to get a gift card, mail it to Mike. Thank you for thinking of me. I appreciate you keeping me at top of mind for real estate. Mail it to him. So now I call his friend. His friend answers the phone. Hey, Mike referred me to you. Wanted to see if we can schedule an appointment. Yeah, he schedules an appointment. We come in. Whether he signs a buyer broker or he signs a listing agreement, I pull out a thank you card. Mike, just wanted to let you know that I've signed an agreement with so-and-so. I really appreciate you thinking of me and referring them to me. And just because I can see Chili's right here, I go buy a Chili's gift certificate for 40 bucks, 50 bucks, throw it in there, mail it to Mike. Now, I close on the transaction with his friend. We do the deal. As soon as I get paid, Mike, thanks for referring so-and-so to me. We just closed on the house. Hopefully that they're happy as could be. Enclosed, find a $100 gift card to Ruth's Chris or Cheesecake Factory or whatever. I really appreciate you thinking of me. Mail it to me. What did I just do to Mike?
Make him green. All the way.
That's why he'll use you now.
What's he going to do the next time he hears of somebody thinking of buying or selling?
He's going to rob you with a Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, he's booking it. Like, you do this enough times, they start like, hey, I got to go find somebody that wants to buy or sell, so that, like, they become your advocate for you. Okay?
Would you only do like physical letters, or would you like mail them like an Amazon gift card?
That would work too. Nope, I'm good with that too. Yep. Just something that's saying thank you and rewarding them for it. The one thing I just realized I didn't do, which we got to do real quick, we don't have to. So I didn't show you how this works. So let me show you the numbers on this real quick. So if I had 200 people there, and remember when I'm saying this will happen is when you get to 60% green. Now the truth is, you're never going to really know when you hit that 60% green, except for all of a sudden you're going to have constant referrals coming in, is how you're going to know. But let's say I was at 60% green, so 60% of these people are either going to do something or refer somebody to me in the next year. So how many people would that be out of 200? 120. And yeah, we're not doing mom pa kettle math, so 120, right? So it's going to be 120. Out of those referrals, now keep in mind, these are referrals, somebody calling and either saying, come talk to us about selling our house, or here's my friend, call them. What percentage of that 120 would you say we could count on that, yeah, we're going to do a deal with them?
50%.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we said 50%, does anybody have heartburn with that? Because remember, these are referrals, not cold calls. But let's just say hypothetically half of those fell through, didn't work, for whatever. I mean, that would be horrible if that's the case. But I don't want to overwhelm you with the number. So, what's our average commission that we're going to get on a closing? Yeah, I mean, I would say probably I'd rather be conservative. Let's say 6,000. What is 6,000 times 30?
28.
That's what I'm telling you. That's why when I said to you guys, look, I can guarantee, I will guarantee you guys over $100,000 a year doing just this. If you'll do just what we talked about there, and you can see why. Out of 200, 60% sending you a referral. But even if you said 50%, it was 100, and then you did half of that and half of that. Like I'm allowing for half of these to fall through. That would be bad. You can see why when we were talking about Tony Messina doing over $300,000 a year following this system is easy. So now, what questions?
Can I take a picture of the board?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, you guys trade secret mailing. I mean, snail mail versus email. And if you do use mail, you just draft it up yourself, pop it out once a quarter.
Yeah, I would say once a quarter. That's where honestly, thank you for asking that, because I think doing the challenge that Zap has is it only will send the active. So I would say once a quarter doing a snail mail to them of here's the homes that have sold in your neighborhood. Yeah, I think that would be the best way to do it. Once a month, set up the email through Zap, but then quarterly just send them here's the homes that sold in your area. I mean, it's going to take a little work to do that.
Any platforms you recommend, or just kind of just it and make it look pretty?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. What other questions? Okay. Thanks for being here. Now, before everybody walks out, though, I sent out a new schedule. Hopefully everyone got it. The old one had that we would do class next Tuesday, but I have to be in California, so we're not going to do next Tuesday. But next Thursday, we will do so a week from today, we'll start the needs analysis. We'll do that. I try to do it as a 3-day class, but almost every time it always ends up being a 2-day, so we're doing it as a 2-day. So it'll be next Thursday and then the next Tuesday. So, okay. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Russ.
You're late, man.
Oh, yeah?